3 months ago, my world collapsed, and I'm still picking up the pieces. I wake up every morning, and for just a split second, I forget. I forget that he's not here anymore. I forget that the bed is cold on his side. I forget that I'm completely alone. Then reality hits like a punch to the stomach. You know that feeling when you lose something really important? Like your phone or your keys, and you keep reaching for it even though you know it's gone? That's what my life feels like now, except what I lost was a part of myself. I'm talking about the kind of breakup that doesn't just end a relationship. It ends who you thought you were. It ends the future you had planned. It ends everything. And the worst part? Nobody prepared me for what comes after. Nobody told me about the silence that follows you everywhere. Nobody warned me about how empty your own reflection can look. But there's something I need to tell you. Something I discovered that changes everything about this story. Let me paint you a picture of what my life looks like now. I used to be the kind of person who had routines. Morning coffee together, shared Netflix accounts, weekend plans that always included we. Now I sit in this apartment that feels like a museum, full of memories I can't touch. His coffee mug is still in the cabinet. I see it every morning when I reach for mine. 3 months, and I still can't bring myself to put it away. It's like admitting he's really gone. You want to know what nobody tells you about breakups? It's not just losing the person. You lose their friends. You lose the restaurants you went to together. You lose entire parts of the city that now feel like forbidden territory. I drive a different route to work now because the old one, it goes past the coffee shop where we had our first date, past the park where we used to walk on Sundays, past the life we built together. The silence in this place is deafening. I never realized how much space another person takes up until that space became empty. Not just physically, but energetically. The apartment feels bigger somehow. Too big. Like I'm rattling around in a space meant for 2 people. And the nights? God, the nights are the worst. I used to fall asleep to the sound of his breathing. Now I fall asleep to Netflix playing in the background because I can't handle the quiet. I've watched entire seasons of shows I don't even like just to fill the void. But here's what really messes with your head. You know what phantom limb syndrome is? When someone loses an arm or a leg, but they can still feel it there. They reach for things with a hand that doesn't exist anymore. That's what this feels like. Emotional phantom limb syndrome. I catch myself setting 2 plates at dinner. I buy groceries for 2 people. I start sentences with, "We should," before remembering there is no "we" anymore. Last week I was at the grocery store, and I saw his favorite cereal. Without thinking, I put it in my cart. I didn't realize until I was at checkout. The cashier looked at me funny when I just stood there staring at it. I bought it anyway. It's still sitting in my pantry unopened. These are the things they don't show you in movies. They show you the dramatic breakup scene, the tears, the door slamming. They don't show you the Tuesday 3 months later when you're crying in the cereal aisle. My friends keep telling me I'm doing better. They say I seem stronger. And maybe I am. Maybe I've gotten good at pretending. But inside I feel like I'm missing essential parts. The part of me that used to laugh easily. The part that made plans for the future. The part that believed in forever. We were together for 4 years. 4 years of building something together, of becoming this unit. This us that I thought was unbreakable. And now I'm supposed to just go back to being me? But I don't remember who that was before us. You want to know the truth about long relationships? You don't just date the person. You date their family, their dreams. Their entire world becomes part of yours. His mom used to text me recipes. His sister and I had inside jokes. I was part of family dinners and birthday parties and holiday traditions. Now, I'm nobody to them. 4 years of being family, erased. I kept some of the Christmas ornaments we bought together. They're in a box in my closet now. I can't look at them, but I can't throw them away either. Everything in this apartment tells a story. The couch we picked out together, the artwork we hung on lazy Sunday afternoons, the kitchen table where we had so many conversations about our future. That table, it haunts me. We used to sit there every morning before work. He'd read the news on his phone while I planned my day. Such a simple routine. Such a nothing moment. I'd give anything for one more nothing moment. The hardest part is that life keeps going. The world doesn't stop because your heart is broken. Bills still need to be paid. Work deadlines don't care about your emotional state. People expect you to function normally. So you learn to wear a mask. You learn to say, "I'm fine," convincingly. You learn to laugh at the right moments and ask about other people's problems so they don't ask about yours. But when you come home, when you close that door behind you, the mask comes off. And that's when the real breakdown begins. There are stages to this kind of grief. And yes, it is grief. You're mourning the death of a relationship, the death of a future, the death of the person you were when you were loved by them. First came the anger. I was furious at him for giving up, furious at myself for not seeing it coming, furious at the universe for letting me believe in something that wasn't real. Then came the bargaining. Maybe if I just give him space, maybe if I change this about myself, maybe if I reach out one more time. I wrote so many texts I never sent, emails that just sat in my drafts folder. I'd type out these long messages explaining everything I was feeling, then delete them. Over and over. Now I'm stuck in this weird limbo between acceptance and denial. Some days I feel strong. I make plans. I think about the future. I convince myself I'm better off without him. Other days I can barely get out of bed. Like yesterday. I was doing fine. Actually having a good day. Then I heard our song on the radio. Just 3 minutes of music, and suddenly I'm sobbing in my car in a parking lot. It's like emotional whiplash. You think you're healing, then something small triggers everything all over again. And people don't understand the timeline. They think 3 months should be enough. They want you to be over it already. But how do you get over 4 years in 3 months? But here's where the story takes a turn. And I need you to hear this part carefully. 2 weeks ago, I was cleaning out a drawer. Just trying to declutter, trying to reclaim my space. And I found something that changed everything I thought I knew about our relationship. A receipt. Just a simple receipt tucked behind some old papers. From a jewelry store, dated 2 months before our breakup. My heart stopped. Because he never bought me jewelry. Ever. Said it wasn't his thing. Said he preferred practical gifts. So I did something I'm not proud of. But I had to know. I called the store, pretended to be his fiancée asking about a purchase. The woman was so helpful. Described the most beautiful engagement ring. Princess cut. My dream ring. The one I'd shown him pictures of years ago. He had bought it. He had planned to propose. And then, he didn't. Everything I thought I knew about our breakup was wrong. He didn't just fall out of love with me. He didn't just decide we weren't compatible. He had been planning to ask me to marry him. So what changed? I spent days going through everything in my mind. Every conversation, every argument, every moment in those final weeks. And then I remembered something his best friend said at a party. Just a throwaway comment I barely registered at the time. It's crazy how one conversation can change everything. One conversation. I confronted him. Broke my own no-contact rule and called him, demanded answers. And the truth. The truth broke me all over again. His parents. His parents never liked me. Thought I wasn't good enough. Wasn't successful enough. Wasn't the right kind of family. But he'd always defended me. Always chosen us over their opinions. Until that night 2 months before the breakup, when they sat him down and gave him an ultimatum. Choose them or choose me. He chose them. Not immediately. He agonized over it for weeks. Hence the jewelry store receipt. He'd bought the ring before they got to him. But eventually their pressure wore him down. The constant criticism. The threats to cut him off financially. The manipulation. So he broke up with me instead of standing up to them. And here's the part that really destroys me. He let me believe it was my fault. Let me think I wasn't enough. Let me question everything about myself. When the truth was, he was just too weak to fight for us. 4 years of my life. 4 years of believing in something real, and he threw it all away because he couldn't disappoint mommy and daddy. The man I loved, the man I thought was brave and strong and independent, was actually a coward. And I never saw it. Learning the truth didn't make it easier. It made it worse. Because now I'm not just grieving the relationship, I'm grieving the person I thought he was. I'm angry at him for lying, for letting me blame myself, for taking the coward's way out. But I'm also angry at myself, for not seeing who he really was, for ignoring the red flags, for loving someone who was never going to choose me when it mattered. The receipt is still in my drawer. I don't know why I'm keeping it. Maybe as proof that it was real, at least for a moment. He wanted to marry me. On some level, in some timeline, he wanted forever too. But wanting isn't enough. Love isn't enough. Sometimes the person you love most in the world will still choose the easy path over the right path. I've had to completely rewrite my understanding of our entire relationship. All those times he seemed distant around his family, I thought he was just quiet. Now I know he was choosing between us. All those arguments that seemed to come from nowhere, they weren't about dishes or plans or money. They were about his guilt, his internal battle. He was pulling away long before he ended it. I just didn't want to see it. And maybe that's my fault too. Maybe I ignored the signs because I was so invested in the story I'd created. The story of us against the world. The story of true love conquering all. But real life isn't a story. Real life is messy and disappointing and full of people who choose comfort over courage. Real life is loving someone who doesn't love you enough to fight for you. So where does that leave me now? Still broken? Still lost? Still feeling like I'm missing parts of myself, but also free. Free from loving someone who was never going to choose me. Free from a family that never accepted me. Free from a future built on someone else's weakness. I'm learning to live with the phantom limb feeling. Learning to shop for one. Learning to sleep in silence. Learning to be just me. Not half of us. Some days are better than others. Some days I feel like myself again. Other days I still cry in grocery stores. But I'm starting to understand something important. The part of me that I lost. Maybe it needed to go. Maybe that was the part that accepted less than I deserved. The part that made excuses for someone else's cowardice. The part that was so afraid of being alone that I stayed with someone who was never really there. I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago. I'm someone new. Someone I'm still getting to know. I've started therapy, started journaling, started doing things just for me, not because they fit into someone else's vision of our life. I painted my bedroom, a color he would have hated, a color that makes me happy. I joined a book club, made new friends who only know the current version of me, not the version that was part of a couple. I'm learning to take up space again, to have opinions that don't need approval, to make plans that don't require consultation. It's terrifying and liberating at the same time. Last week I went to that coffee shop. Our coffee shop. And you know what? It was just a coffee shop. The memories didn't kill me. They hurt. But they didn't destroy me. I ordered something different. Started a new association with that place. If you're listening to this because you're going through something similar, I want you to know something. You're not broken. You're just broken open. There's a difference. Being broken means you're damaged beyond repair. Being broken open means you're creating space for something new to grow. The pain you're feeling? It's proportional to how much you loved. And that capacity to love, that's not gone. It's just redirected. You're learning to love yourself the way you love them. Fiercely, completely, without condition. And maybe that's the real gift in all this pain. Maybe we have to lose ourselves completely to find out who we really are underneath all the compromises and adjustments and accommodations we make for love. 3 months ago, I thought my story was ending. Now I realize it was just beginning. I'm still sad sometimes, still lonely, still missing what we had, or what I thought we had. But I'm also curious about who I'm becoming, excited about possibilities I never considered when my future was already planned. The phantom limb feeling is getting weaker. I'm learning to live in this new body, this new life, this new version of myself. And maybe someday, probably someday, I'll love someone again. Someone who chooses me. Someone who fights for us. Someone who's brave enough to build something real. But first, I need to finish becoming someone worth choosing, someone worth fighting for. Someone who would never again settle for being loved halfway. I'm not there yet. But I can see her, the woman I'm becoming. And I think I'm going to like her. The part of me that I lost. Maybe it was just making room for the part of me I was always meant to find, and that gives me hope.